Oh boy. Yeah, so about those drones. Well, guys, I'm back to tell you, oops. So, I revisited this subject. And first off, a quick disclaimer. I'm not a drone salesman. I don't have some sort of horse in this race where I want one kind of drone to be better than the other. That must be clear first. All I want to know is which one's better, right? So when you're in Tranquility and you get tackled by an interceptor, what drone is best to use? That's what I want to find out, right? Now, good intentions aside, it doesn't really make a difference if the information that you put out is wrong. So there were some pretty big flaws with my little experiment that I did, right? First off is that my sample size was tiny. In other words, I just did it once, right? Now, in the one time that I did it, on top of that, I also used guns, which, and on Tranquility, on the live server, you'd be an idiot to not use guns. But in a test, proving which drone is faster at killing an interceptor than the other, it adds just this giant variable into the experiment and makes it so it's not accurate. Which turns out had a huge impact. In the clip that I did with the faction drones, my guns actually hit a cycle. Or even two, I think it was. So that chopped a ton of time off because the drones didn't have to eat through that HP. Now, what I did to rectify this was to redo this test, and I did it 10 more times, which again, that sample size is probably still too small. But at least you can kind of find a trend, kind of see what you're dealing with, and with additional information, you can kind of come to a better conclusion. So I redid it. I did it 5 more times with faction drones, and I did it 5 more times with Tech 2 drones. And it was pretty simple. All I did was, this time not using guns like an idiot, I just recorded the footage, and then I went back over the footage when I was editing it to make this video, and I went down to the tiniest little tenth of a second and recorded exactly how long it took from them engaging, the drones engaging the target, to the target being destroyed. And so then I wrote those down, faction warfare, or faction drones in column A, and Tech 2 drones in column B. So I had my 5 and I added them up, and then I divided by 5 and I got averages. And after I was done with the test, I looked at the averages, and I'm looking at them right now. So for the faction drones, the average was 109 seconds. For the Tech 2 drones, it was only 104.4 seconds when you added them up and divided them. Which means that they're about the same, and in fact, Tech 2 were faster. Now, someone else brought up another interesting point, and that was that the skills have a huge impact on this as well. Now, to use this experiment to prove how your skills are going to affect your drones is not going to be as accurate, obviously, as me using it to see how fast my drones are going to kill an interceptor, right? Because my main has 130 million skill points on it, your main might not. You might not have however many skill points or whatever in drones that I do. The whole point, the idea behind this experiment was to, and I suppose maybe it's too vague in nature as well, because all I wanted to know which was faster, right? Which for me is helpful, but it might not be all that helpful for you. Another person wanted to know why I didn't do warriors or hobgoblins and the faction variants for warriors and hobgoblins. Well, here's what I'm going to say to that. Man, that is a huge time sink. And I mean, you could probably dedicate an entire series on something like this. And unfortunately, I have way too much stuff to commit my time to that I didn't really want to get crazy in depth. Which, using that argument is kind of dumb as well, because that's the whole reason why I'm in this bucket of worms. Anyway, long story short, I had to make another video. I had to revise my stance on this because it turns out I'm an idiot and I was way wrong. So, bear with me. Here's my public apology. I stand humbled before the court of Reddit, and Olive Eve. And yeah, good luck out there, guys. We'll see you around.